touch this. You can't touch this.
What is up, Critics? In this video we're going to be drag race testing the new Comet S2 and the Calico stanced and with low grip tires as well versus the Pariah, which is arguably the fastest car in the game without any speed boost tricks. And I do want to mention that every car used for testing in this video is fully upgraded with max engine, max transmission, turbo, brakes, and a spoiler upgrade as well. Now I know I'm obviously late posting the drag race testing for these cars, but I wanted to wait till the Comet S2 came out to see how it performed with the speed boost tricks in comparison to the Calico. So we're going to be doing a few different tests here on my top speed test track. The first one will be with the Calico and the Comet S2 versus the Pariah with no tricks, meaning no stance and no low grip tires. And then the second test will be stance only. And then the last test will be stance and the low grip tires combined. And then we will have one final race, which is the Calico versus the Comet S2, both stance and low grip tires, to see the side-by-side differences. And a big thank you to my friend Edub for helping me out with the drag races with his Pariah. If you want to check out his channel, I will leave that link down below in the pinned comment. So, first race here, again Calico with default stance and regular tires versus the Pariah. So you can see initially the Calico gets way out ahead because of its acceleration, but you can quite clearly see that the Pariah catches up pretty quickly and passes it like if it was standing still. Next up, we have the Comet S2 with default stance and regular tires versus the Pariah, and pretty much the same thing happens here. The Pariah just completely dominates as usual. Now, when we start getting into the speed boost tricks, it starts to get very interesting. So the first one we're going to show is the stance option from the interaction menu. That's what we're going to be using. So this race is the Calico stanced with regular tires versus the Pariah. And here the Calico stays ahead for a long time. However, the Pariah does eventually catch up to it and pass it. Now, if we try the same thing with the Comet S2, the Pariah gets out ahead of it for a while, but eventually the Comet S2 does catch up to the Pariah and passes it, which is pretty incredible. Again, this is only with stancing the car from the interaction menu and nothing else. I think that's pretty incredible that the S2 can beat the Pariah with just that. And lastly, we have the fastest speed boost method, which is stance and the low grip tires from the LS car meet, which just turns these cars into absolute monsters. So the first race is the Calico with those tricks versus the Pariah, and the Calico just absolutely obliterates it all the way down the track. It is ridiculously fast. Now let's try the Comet S2 with those tricks as well versus the Pariah. Now the Pariah gets out ahead of it due to its superior acceleration. However, the Comet S2 does eventually catch up and passes that Pariah at a ridiculous speed, absolutely insane. Now, lastly here, let's try the Calico stance with the low grip tires versus the Comet S2 with the same thing. And you can see the Calico gets out ahead of it as to be expected with superior acceleration. However, the Comet does eventually catch up to it and pass it, which makes it the new king for top speed using speed boost tricks. Now, some things I want to mention here is that stancing your car does affect its handling, and the car cannot take corners as well as it does in its default stance. So for most tracks with turns, normal stance will be better, and the speed benefit you get does not really make up for the speed you lose around the corners. Now, when it comes to the low grip tires, this one is quite obvious for those of you that have used them. They're pretty much drifting tires, and they have very little grip, making the car pretty much undrivable unless you're purposely using it to drift or beat someone in a drag race. So there's always those few people that are brave enough to attempt using the low grip tires in races with turns, and it just doesn't work out. You lose a ton of braking power, meaning you have to brake more than twice as early as you usually do. Plus, you can only take the corner at a very low speed, and the car just drifts on its own, making you lose even more speed on top of that, so it's just an absolute mess. The speed benefit you get is not worth the massive speed loss anytime you have to take a corner. So overall, yes, these cars are fast with these tricks, and incredibly fast that is, but at the end of the day, they are still speed boost tricks, and there's always a downside to them, and in this case, it's your handling and braking that's very heavily negatively affected. So is the Comet S2 the new fastest car in the game, as everybody's saying in the community? Honestly, I personally would not say that, because it requires tricks to get it to those ridiculous speeds, and those tricks make the car undrivable for corners on top of that. So with that said, I believe the Pariah is still technically the king with its actual speed that requires no tricks at all to go that fast. And even if those cars are using all those different speed boost tricks, the Pariah at the end of the day will still beat them on any normal race with turns. Anyways guys, hope these side-by-side drag race comparisons were helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.